hey, what's up? It's Aaron Schatz here. Time for another round in the problems with internet dating. And you know, if you haven't seen the first two, click here or here. This one will be the goal, this one will be the profile. So check out the goal first, then check out the profile, and then you can watch this one. It's a series. So we're going to be focusing on a very important topic, the first message that you'll send. And if you're a guy, you will be sending the first message. No question about it, you will be sending the first message. Now, that isn't to say that women don't send messages to guys. They do all the time. But generally, as a guy, though, you'll be sending the first message because you're a guy. It's just the way it is. So just deal with it. Now, for all you ladies, this doesn't mean that you should just sit back and expect, that guy to come along and message you. Sometimes you actually want to take the initiative and send a message out to someone that you think you'll, be good with. And, maybe it'll work out. But don't just sit back and expect, Mr. Right to come along. It goes both ways. The feminists always talk about, women are strong or whatever, so take the initiative. Send an email out. I'll tell you, us guys would appreciate that once in a while. But let's focus on what really happens in internet dating. So as a guy, you're going to be sending the messages. And as a girl, you're going to be sitting back and receiving all the messages from all these guys. And I mean, every guy is going to send messages to girls. It just happens that way. But let's go into the reasons why it happens. So after you've created your profile, you're all bright-eyed and ready to go, right? You start looking at, various profiles and singling out who you want to send a message to. And let's not worry about the content of the message first, but let's just worry about who you're sending it first to. And you look around and you're like, okay, you make a very, very specific list of the people you want to send to, and it might be very specific, right? You're saying like, oh my God, I found the person I want to go out with, I found the person I want to marry. And you send a message. Doesn't matter the content, we'll go into that in a second. But you send a message to that person, right? And then you wait. And then you wait. So after you've emailed all the specific people that you want, you're going to have to open up the search to a more broad category of women, or men in this case. Probably women though. You're probably watching this and you're a guy. So you're going to open it up to a lot more women that you're going to send to. And the thing is, it just is what it is, right? Because every time that you send a message, it's just either a waiting game, or it's a bad response, or no response, or maybe it actually works out, but you never know. But either way, internet dating, especially when you're sending messages, it's a numbers game. Yeah, it's a numbers game. So what do I mean by a numbers game? Well, think of it this way. If you know anything about statistics, the law of large numbers, meaning like, the more outcomes you have, the more towards the average it'll be. Like, for instance, if you flip a coin, and if you flip a coin 3 times, it's either going to land on heads or tails more than 50% of the time because you only did 3, right? But if you extend it out to infinity, it'll be 50-50. That's the way it works. So if you take that in terms of internet dating, expect your response rate to be extremely low. So you send a first message out to somebody, expect the response rate to be, I don't even know the percentage, but it's probably very low. Unless you're like this really amazing guy that can send great first messages, you're probably looking at 10% or less in responses. And it sucks, but it's true. So, go into it and not expecting that you're going to get a response from each first message. Just go in and, don't worry about it. Don't fret over it, because the worst thing you can do is just send that first message and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I hope she responds. If she doesn't respond, I'm going to be so distraught, and you're like, biting your nails off and stuff. No, just approach it as like a job. And you're just on the computer, you're sending these messages out, and just don't worry about if they don't respond. Don't worry about if they reject you. It's just internet dating. It's not like, this is your life goal or anything. No, this is internet dating. Take a step back. If you meet someone on there and spend the rest of your life with, that's great, and that's the goal, I hope. But you got to treat it as it is. This is the internet dating. This is not regular dating where you're going out and getting rejected, right off the bat, face to face. You're getting rejected on the internet, which is basically meaningless. So there's really nothing to worry about. So the reason I say that is, let's just take it from the female perspective. I don't mean to offend anyone, but on female side, if you're pretty, the prettier you are, the more messages you'll get from more random guys, right? And generally, they may not even be great first messages, but it just is what it is. So you might not want to respond to every message, even just saying, oh, I'm not interested. You just might say, okay, I'm getting too many messages, so I just hit delete. Delete, 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 right? But the fact that you get so many messages allows you to be very, very, very selective in who you go out with. And that presents an issue for guys because there is a very big difference. For instance, if a guy met somebody out in public, met a girl out in public, let's just say, and the girl was like, oh yeah, he's kind of cute, I'd go out with him. If the same situation was presented online, the girl might say, oh, I can do better than that. Psh, delete, forget that, right? And that happens all the time, so you just have to get over that hump and not really worry about it. So now that we got the basics out of the way about the background of your first message, now let's go into the actual content of the first message. And this is where things get really, really weird because there are two trains of thought. Actually, there's probably more than two trains, but here's the situation, right? You can either write a very small first message or a more content-laden first message. And the content that you put in the message is actually very important too, because think of it this way. If you get a message, let's think about it from the female perspective. You get a message, right? And it says, hi, I think you're cute, we should go out. What are you doing with that message? You're hitting the delete button immediately, right? Because it either shows that you only looked at my pictures and you didn't read my profile, and why would I want to go out with you? On the flip side, if you send a very long message and it shows that you read their profile, but it expands upon how much you like them and how much you think you'd have a great time going out, they might say like, whoa, this guy is getting a little bit crazy. I don't know if I want to go out with him, and you'll probably meet the same fate of that email getting deleted. Just remember the tone of your email is very important because you don't want to sound like this. Yeah, I actually didn't read your profile, but I think it would be great to have sex with you. Or you don't want to sound like this. You should go out with me. Or else. Yeah. And yes, this is a real gun. But you probably want to sound like this. Hi, I'm Aaron. I read your profile, and I actually think that we would be great together. Maybe we can go on a date soon. So I think, and this is all my opinion, you're welcome to send a video response in this one because I actually would love to hear what you guys think, but this is my opinion. I think you should always just read the profile that you're going to send a message to because honestly, pictures are great. They get you in the doorway, right? And that's fine. But now you have to see if you're actually like quote unquote compatible. So meaning, think of it this way, all right? The short-term relationship, very easy. You don't have to have much in common. Longer term, you need to have there's a few basic requirements. For me, religion is one of them, politics is another. Without those two, usually long-term relationships won't work out. Remember, religion and politics, long run, very, very important. So you might want to just, worry about that when you're actually contacting these girls. I mean, I guess this goes back to your goal again. So if your goal is to, just have a relationship, just to have a relationship, you might not care that much. But long term, those kind of things are important. So if you're sending a first message, click the hold button first, in your brain and say, okay, do I think this is going to work out in the long run by reading their profile? Don't just look at their pictures and be like, yes, I want to, yes, keep sending messages because you're pretty, you're pretty, you're pretty, you're pretty, you're pretty. It doesn't work all out, all the time. So, take a breather, read the profile, and then think if you really want to send that message. So this goes back to what I said earlier in this video. You're going to start out specific and then get very, very broad in your approach. And obviously, the people that you may or, you're hazy on, like if it's going to work out in the long run, you're going to send messages to because you ran out of other people to send messages to. And it happens. Just don't worry about it. Send the message. Worst thing you can do is, the worst thing that can happen is they don't respond, right? But let's just say you eventually do go on a date. The worst thing that can happen is the date is bad, right? Big deal. You wasted money on dinner. So now let's actually get into the content of your first message. So after you've looked at their pictures, after you've read their profile, determined this is someone you actually want to send a message to, now you go about to writing your first message. So the first thing you probably want to do is introduce yourself. You can start off by saying, hi, I'm Aaron, right? And that's how you could start. Or you could wait till the end of the email and you could say like, oh, by the way, I'm Aaron, hi. So if there was something in their profile that was pretty glaring that you found interesting, ask them about it. Start a conversation. Don't just say something like, hi, I'm Aaron, do you want to go out? And then end it. That's not a good first message. A better first message is, hi, I'm Aaron, I saw that you like to go swimming. Where do you like to swim at? So you're going to see a lot of people say that they like to travel, and a lot of people list the destinations they traveled at. Now, another great introduction question is something like, "Oh, I saw you travel to random place. What was it like? Did you like the experience? When did you actually go? Are you going to go again?" Probably don't want to ask that many questions, but those are some questions to get you started. And remember, asking a question is a lot easier than just saying a statement, saying like, "I think you're pretty." That doesn't work. What are they going to say to that? Thanks. That's not going to work out. Remember, the point of a first message is to get a response out of the first message, and hopefully a positive response. So asking a question to start, a conversation goes a long way. Don't just say something like, "Yeah, hi, I'm Aaron, and I think we should go out because you're pretty, and I think we'd be really compatible with each other, and because obviously I'm attracted to you." Where do you think that's going? Nowhere. And yes, I'm using the same kind of pattern to say negative first message, but it happens online. You'll have people just sending a message to a girl saying, "Oh, let's go out because I find you're attractive." Or they say some really ridiculous things like, "Oh my God, I think you're a goddess. Would you do me the honor of going out with me?" And blah, blah, blah. Don't put people on a pedestal. It's the worst thing you can do. So you've sent your first message and now you're waiting for that response, right? Why are you waiting? Go to another profile and send another first message. And don't shotgun style those messages. Don't copy and paste that message to 40 different people. Create a first message that's tailored to the person you're sending it to. So meaning, read their profile, read their pictures. Let's say their pictures show something interesting. Let's say their pictures show them somewhere in like an aquarium. Say like, "Oh, what aquarium were you at?" Right? Because it shows that you looked at their pictures and you maybe read their profile, but it shows that you have some interest into their profile specifically instead of generically saying, "Oh, hi, I'm Aaron. I liked your profile. Can you tell me more about yourself?" I mean, the specifics goes a lot more than the generic. Now that piece of advice really doesn't help when their profile isn't specific at all. Like you'll have profiles that say like, "Hi, I'm Denise, and I'm on this site looking for a connection, so send me a message." And as a guy, what do you do with that? And honestly, I have no idea what you do with that, because anytime that I saw a message like that, I'm just like, I read your profile, but I have no idea what to actually say to you, so can you just send me some more information? And most of the time you get, no responses. And a lot of the times those profiles are usually BS profiles, meaning like they're on there so they can scope out other people, or they're just totally like, what's the term? Catfishing and stuff like that. So by the way, when you're sending your first message, you might want to try to, take a step back and seeing if this profile that you're about to send to is bogus or not. Obviously, if there's a profile that says like, "Oh my God, I love guys. I want to just go on dates and have sex with everybody," and there's pictures of really hot girls, and you're just like, okay, this seems too good to be true, because it probably is. So take a step back and think about it first. So you sent your first message, and you sent actually more than one message. You probably sent, let's just say you sent 20 messages, right? And you're waiting for responses. Now, obviously, don't get distraught if you don't get any responses from it. It just happens that way. But let's just say you get some negative responses. That's okay. You just move on from that. At least they took the time to send you a response entirely. So you know that they're not interested, right? You know that people that don't respond aren't interested. The problem is when you get a response that you have no idea if they're interested or not. If you get a positive response, that's great. Now you can continue. And that'll probably be my next video. The conversation and then the first phone call. That'll be my next video, right? So don't worry about that. Let's go into what happens when you get a response that you have no idea how to read. So let's just say that your first message to somebody was saying, "Oh, I saw you like the beach. What beaches do you go to?" And it's like, you get a response saying, "I like Seaside." And that's it. And you're like, okay, all right, I don't know what to say now. And the funny part is when you say, like you introduce yourself saying, "Oh, hi, I'm Aaron," and they just say like the answer to your question, and they don't say their name, and you're just like, yeah, I don't know if I should continue messaging you, but maybe I just will. So what happens is that you do message them, right? And you say, "Okay, so that was your favorite beach. Like, do you go anywhere else? Or like, what else do you like to do?" and said like, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, my name's Aaron. I don't know your name. What's your name? And they say like, no, that's the only beach I go to. And you're like, yeah. So that's when you just stop. Don't even bother. It's not going anywhere. Sometimes though, they're just shy, or they just don't want to let off a lot of information because obviously this is internet dating and there's a lot of creepy people up there. So you might want to just like tone it down a little bit, go with the flow, let them open up a little bit. They might ask you questions and you just answer, but you don't want to answer too much. Don't write a book, right? If they answer like, oh, it's like, what are you doing with your life? Don't be like, oh my God, don't say your whole life story in like, 50 paragraphs. Just say like, where you are right now and what you want to do in the upcoming future, the very immediate future, not the very long term. Don't say like, oh yeah, I see myself having like, a marriage and a couple of kids and then, like having a nice house and stuff. No, the immediate future, saying like, oh, right now, I'm working in my job and I'm probably looking for another one soon and I'm really looking forward to the summer because it's my favorite month, my favorite time of the year, I mean. Summer's not my favorite time of the year, by the way. It's spring, because, spring is where all the plants start growing, and my birthday's in spring. Those are the emails that you have to be really concerned about, the ones that you can't just read immediately, right? Now, most of the time, if you get a response and it's positive, and you like the profile, that's when things start to, like, really go really well, because, you don't want to beat around the bush. So if you get a positive response saying, like, oh, like, they actually took what you wrote and they expanded upon that, asked you questions, that's when you could probably say like, okay, here's my phone number, maybe we should talk for a little bit and then maybe we can go out to dinner soon. And if they say yes after that, that's great, right? But we're going to get into that kind of stuff a little bit later. But that's the kind of stuff that you want to go for, right? You want that positive response and you want no two ways about it, that like, okay, this girl is interested and now I'm going to try to actually do something with this girl, and do something meaning going on a date. Not anything more yet, just going on a date. In fact, before that, just getting on a phone call. Worst thing that you can do is go on a date without talking to the girl first, because we'll go into the next video, but yeah, just don't worry about that. Just, send your first messages out, and hopefully you get some positive responses, because that's the key here. I just want to reiterate, I know I said that shotgun style probably isn't the best thing to do. So take your emails that you're sending to people and just look at it and just change it a little bit to each profile and just be like, okay, I have 40 people I want to email, but I have like 2 that I really want to message, and I want their responses really bad. Take the time to write those 2, and then, just take the other 38 and just be like, all right, hi, I liked your profile because of this, or this, and this. Remember, first messages are all a numbers game, so expect to have very, 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 very little responses from your messages. And the ones that you do get, maybe you have no idea how they're thinking, or they may be negative. So I would say that you might get maybe 1%, 2%, 3%, maybe up to 5% of positive responses. I mean, unless you have an amazing profile, unless you're like really good at sending first messages. And if you are really good at sending first messages, why are you still on an internet dating site? Right? I mean, what are you doing on an internet dating site if you're really good at sending first messages? You would think that you went on a date and found somebody already. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm not judging you. What I do want to know is, if you are good at sending first messages, give me a response. I'd love to hear what your comments and tips are, because obviously most of us are doing something wrong because we're not getting responses like you are. To wrap everything up though, take the time, send your first message to the people that you want to message, and then open up, to more people. And it is what it is. It's a numbers game. It's a slog. But like I said, if your goal is to find someone that you could spend a lot more time with, maybe the rest of your life, it's well worth it. So really, take the time, write your messages out, and don't worry, whatever happens, happens. There's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. And you know what? When you find someone, that'll be worth it, right? And you'll look back and saying, the time I spent on internet dating sites, that was no problem. I found someone, so that's great. So, if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Please send video responses, and like I said, if you have any comments and tips, send it my way. Thanks for watching, everybody.